This is going to be a relatively short video, depending on how long I seem to rant about certain things. Essentially, what I wanted to do throughout this summer is just challenge myself intellectually and see how many books I am able to read and be able to master over a specific period of time. This is just gonna be, I'm just going to say just a bunch of books that I've read, like just tell my opinions about it, and that's pretty much it. Maybe I'll tell you about some books that I'm probably going to be reading in the future, and then kind of my entire plan. The first book that I am going to be talking about is, which I wish I had it with me physically so that I can show it, but apparently Amazon or whoever is keeping track of my carrier, actually US Postal Service, hasn't come to me yet, and I expect to get like a refund tomorrow, so that's pretty exciting. Taylor's Classical Mechanics, which hopefully my editing will show somewhere in this screen. I'm mainly using this book as just to like brush up on the main concepts that I wanted to like make sure that I got down before I enter my intermediate mechanics class. It's really a great book for that. The first 5 chapters, in which the author suggests that the first 5 chapters are just like the main introductory physics 1 concept that if you're like an insane prodigy, you could just skip them and go straight towards Lagrangian formalism. But I decided to just make sure that I do the exercises and really understand the concepts. Plus, there's more mathematical detail to it. So for the people who are not mathematically oriented to physics, like personally me, because I find myself more mathematically oriented, it will be a great book. It will be like a great resource to like solidify that. There are some exercises that I found really fun to do, such as the crossed electric and magnetic fields exercise, which was like a matrix equation that you had to solve, and I found that to be really fun. Maybe I'll make a video on the solution for that, but really most of the exercises, they're like 1 star, 2 stars, and 3 stars, all right, increasing from ranging of difficulty. The 1 stars, sometimes I would do it, but most of them are just easy that I could just do it in my head. The 2-star exercises, I usually do the 2-star exercises because they're like a intermediate balance between the 1-star and the 2-star, and the 3-star exercises, that is also the ones that I really want to do and hopefully I could solve all of them by some timeline, some date that I might consider adding. But really, all of this, like I said, preparation for intermediate mechanics I'm taking this fall, and like I said, all of this was just so that I could like, prepare myself to like read another book which I'm hoping to read, which is Goldstein Classical Mechanics, which hopefully I'll get to that like sooner, like this year. I think that without this book, I would have never, ever in my life be doing what I'm currently doing right now. This thing has like a lot of history with me. So essentially back in high school, I wanted to take calculus BC, and I've heard that like you can take calculus BC without even taking AB, which is what I wanted to do, but my math teacher at the time said, hard, no, you really can't do that. So instead what I did was just like spend an entire summer like just reading like much of like the content in this book all the way up to actually Infinite Series. But the thing is, I really didn't do much of the exercises, which if you want to get better at mathematics or physics or even other like areas of STEM, I don't know if this applies to engineering, I can't relate. Do practice problems, especially if you're going into a field in which it requires a lot of like theoretical thinking, which is what I am doing. You have to do like a lot of practice problems in order to like exercise your brain, because like you definitely do not get fit watching the book do the exercises for you. You do the exercises, you create those brain muscles. That's kind of how it works. Aside from that, I decided to just take a look at like most of the exercises that I found to be like very interesting and challenging, more particularly like the last like numbered exercises in each section, in which like they actually provide like a more mathematical proof based approach. Like instead of just saying, you know, calculate the derivative of this function like a billion gazillion times, which is what the first like numbered exercises are, the last exercises are mainly like problem solving and like applications to like other like areas. But I mainly avoided the numerical exercises because personally they're boring for me, and I prefer like the symbolic approach. But aside from that, it's been fun doing like much of these exercises like throughout this past month. And unfortunately, like as much as I wanted to like cover every single like theorem and then prove it on my own to see how much I have improved over the past like 2 years, I needed to move on to like other things, such as like also like review extra topics for my differential equations course and etc. I still consider just like looking back at some of the exercises right here, because there are some that I still need to like get down. And so yeah. Take. Now, the next book that I am going to be covering is actually just one that I recently finished off doing today. Or when I mean finished up doing is I looked at the exercises of the final chapter and I got so bored that I literally, I don't know, I fainted out kinda like when I was studying like earlier in the day. It's this book, Proofs by a Long-Form Mathematics Approach by Jay Cummings. I like this book. I love the first chapter, and if I had the time, I would take an effort to do like most of the exercises in chapter 1, because like those are the ones in which it's intuitive. The first chapter of this book is literally called Intuitive Proofs. And most other proof books don't do that. They introduce straight to logic, but this book goes all the way to chapter 5 in order to introduce logic, which I think is pretty nice. And I'm also using this as like the textbook because I'm also taking a discrete mathematics or a proof-based discrete mathematics course at the moment during my summer semester. So this really has been helping me, and honestly, if I get like at least an 85 on the midterm and somehow get an A in the class without even attending lectures, then I do not know what I'm going to do. This book really carries me all the way through, and the fact that I just finished reading this book just makes me happy that I am able to finally like fulfill like most of the things that I set myself out to do. As the chapters get by, as the chapters progress, I really honestly, it started to get boring because I was able to like do much of the theorems and propositions and be able to prove them right before I even looked at the solutions and get it right. Most of the exercises, they're just like plain numerical like computation, not numerical computation, just straightforward logic that I have to like continuously like write down the proof for it like every single time. And you know, honestly, you know, as much as I like proving like that an even plus an even is an even and an odd plus an even is even, and really the main point of this is just to improve your like proof writing, it really gets tedious, and I would like to like see like more like sophisticated proofs that require like multiple steps and lemmas to prove. But that's pretty much what I have with this book. Give it ETS is greater than 8.8. Really solid book. I would suggest to like everyone who is like casual into mathematics, and yeah, would read again. So that was pretty much it for this video. Like I said, I wanted to make it as short as possible, and so I forgot to mention that there are still some other books that I'm reading, although all of those books that I not mentioned are just like quick skims of it. As of right now, for July, I'm pretty much going to try to see if I can like speed run the entirety of the first 6 books of Euclid's Elements, so that's going to be pretty exciting. I am still going to be finishing off the Taylor Classical Mechanics book, and after that month I might start reading books on special relativity, since I'm also taking a course on that, and really exciting stuff too, and perhaps I'll make another video like this. This shit's fun.